Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Index Office Hours. Today is the 12th of December, Q4, the last month of the year, and this is IOH 136. 37, sorry. Oh, wow. Geez. And this is the town square for graph ecosystem participants to come together and discuss the most important and relevant topics for the ecosystem. This is a conversation. We love participation. So if you would like to get involved, please do unmute your mic or let me know if you're having any challenges with that, and I'll try and get that sorted for you. We also have the text box in the corner. So if you'd like to contribute via text, that is also an option as well. A lot of people are texting already in the chat box there. Thank you very much, Pili, for posting the agenda there. Thank you very much. Oh, Juan, I see you typing there. She beat you to it. It's usually Hugh Juan. Awesome. Thank you so much, Billy, for sending the agenda there. Okay, first I will start off as I normally do with a opening remarks, and today is a shout out for GRT IQ episode 146, and it is with Anthony Zhang, who is a community manager at the Graph Foundation. He is focused on all parts Graph community in Asia, and he kind of talks a bit about his journey working at Streaming Fast, one of the core developers, as many of you know, of Graph, as well as many of the things he's currently working on in the Web3 ecosystem in the Graph. So if you're interested to learn a bit about his background, his take on Web3 and the Asian ecosystem, please do check out the podcast episode in the chat there. Okay, Juan, he's on it. Okay, he sent it through.
Nice.
Good job. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to hand over to Anna, who's going to take us into our regularly scheduled Repo Watch section.
Thank you, Abel. Today on Repo Watch, on execution layer client, we have had a new release of 𝗨𝗀𝗀𝗀. This is version 255.1. We are running this version both on our testnet and mainnet, and it's working without issues. Then on Firehose Ethereum, we have had new releases. And I should say the version for Aragon contains a fix for snap initialization from frozen blocks, and it estimates less RAM when indexing. For Firehose ETH, we have had release version 2.01, which fixes substream gRPC connect error codes that are not propagating correctly. And it also fixes Firehose connection rate limiting, which will now force an increased delay between 1 to 4 seconds before refusing a connection. And then we also have another version. This is version 2.02, which fixes gRPC error codes when shutting down. Next, we have a new version of Arbitrum Nitro. This is version 2.2.0 Alpha 6, and this fixes batch posting for L3 chains and replaced by fee for validator and external signer support compared to the previous alpha release. Then we don't have anything for consensus layer client, and we don't have anything for GraphStack either. So super quick update. That's basically it. Let us know, please, if you've tried any of the Aragon releases or the Firehose Ethereum ones. Over to you, Juan.
Okay, and for our next segment in Index Live News, we have some breaking news for you. For the forum governance section, we have 𝗨𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, which is the chain integration process. There's a small clarification there regarding the POI, the allowed POI divergence, which was set to 0%. And in order to be more realistic with, the state of things, it's not an issue of the chain if there's some small determinism issues. It could be GraphStack or anything. So yeah, for the most part, it's going to be changed so that it allows for a little bit more flexibility for the integration process. But that's pretty much it for 𝗨𝗂𝗪57. For 𝗨𝗪58, which is replacing bonding groups with indexing fees, one of the most controversial topics so far. We have a small link sent by Zach, I think, regarding some context for Horizon, which I think was actually from IOH itself, if I'm not mistaken. Next up, we have support for Lightlink. There was a small comment from the 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗂𝗪 guys regarding 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗪_fire_hose, which is something that later appears as a thread in forum research. And then we have introducing the graph improvement proposals tracker, which, as the name suggests, it's I think it's an Notion document that tracks all of the GIPs so that it's a little bit more organized for people that want to have some clarification on those. For forum research, as mentioned previously, we have introducing 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗪_fire_hose, allied with decentralized data source for 40+ EVMs. Again, if you're interested in that, you can actually go to the forum thread and take a look at all of the description. Then there was a small thread regarding how to create a subgraph for an unsupported chain, which was answered by 𝗨𝘀𝗪_𝗀𝗀, as far as I'm aware. Basically stating how you would run locally for the RPC that you want to target and everything. Then we have, as always, the core dev updates. This includes updates from the Guild, Edge Node, Pinax, Messari, Semiotic Labs, Geo, GraphOps, and Streaming Fast. If you're interested in any of those, again, those are pretty lengthy. So if you're interested in any of those, they are linked to the agenda. For the contract repository, we have a small set of PRs, mainly for stuff like the subgraph availability oracle, which is hopefully going to be transformed into a kind of like a sort of like decentralized, so to speak, oracle, which is going to be run with various instances, hopefully, and then it's going to be all having consensus on chain for the denial or not denial of different subgraphs. And then there are a few chore PRs, as well as some other that are related to the delegation parameters cooldown being deprecated, or the dispute manager storing the dispute results. For the network subgraphs, we don't have any releases for the core network subgraph or the building subgraph, but we do have a small release for the analytics subgraph, which is related to fixing exponential rebates. This would impact on the Explorer UI. This is already impacting the Explorer UI, actually. Particularly for Arbitrum, there were a few subgraphs that were displaying 0 query fees for like a couple months or a couple weeks, depending on the subgraph. All of those should be now fixed, and they should be displaying the correct amount of query fees on the charts, the daily charts that would have been bagged before. So that's pretty much it for Protocol Watch. I'm gonna hand it over to Paka actually for Project Watch. I'm not forgetting it this time. So yeah, there we go.
Well, good job for not forgetting it, but we're actually going to skip Project Watch this week.
Oh no, I'm gonna forget next week.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll get them next time.
That's a good one. That was very well timed. But yeah, good job for remembering. But we're gonna skip because there's not much to update. But we'll definitely get Project Watch sorted for next week. Because of that, we're gonna go straight into the open discussion, which I'm very excited for because we have some special guests from another crypto ecosystem. Many of you have been, yeah, exactly. I know, Paca, you've been heads down working, which we very much appreciate. Yeah, we have folks from another crypto ecosystem who I know from previous IOHs, there's been sufficient demand to hear from this team as to how we can support their network in terms of indexing it. And I am very excited to let you know that I've been working super hard, and I've been able to get some folks from Optimism to come over to our call today and tell us a bit about what they're working on at Optimism, how you guys can index, run a node in their ecosystem, and best practices for indexing that chain. So either of you, welcome to the stage, and let's get into it.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Incredible office hour. First time I join. And yeah, thank you so much. I think so. I'm Marine. I lead infrastructure partnerships at OP Labs, and with me is 𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗧𝗧, who will be able to field most of the questions. So I'd like to hand over the stage to him.
Hey y'all, I'm 𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗧𝗧. I'm a developer support engineer over at OP Labs, and like this office hour is so much fun. It's such a vibe. I love it. I've got some like resources that I can just drop in the chat, but I guess which point would we want to start with first? Just running a node or things in regards to our indexers? What do you think?
Yeah, so it's kind of up to what people want. So the question is open. We have these lovely people for the entire call. So yeah, we can kind of start anywhere. I can see Chris is typing.
Sounds good. I'm going to dump a bunch of links and then I'll refer to them as we chat.
Amazing. Sounds good. I'm glad you both like the office hours, by the way, as I'll just say a few words as you're finding the links. Yeah, we have an awesome community. I'm really grateful for everyone who shows up every week. And as you can tell, it's a lot of fun to be part of the call and host the call. So yeah, glad you guys are enjoying. Thanks for the links, 𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗧𝗧.
Yeah, most definitely. We have a community call, and it's one of my favorite calls in our Discord. I think that it would be so much fun to run a more technical focused one as well. But just to kind of refer to some of the links that I've got here. So we are revamping our documentation. We are making it hopefully much nicer to use, and we are always open to feedback. So that first link I've just kind of dropped is like an overview to how our node architecture works. So that's just on a high level. And we have a couple tutorials on how to run and build it from source. But I know that y'all want to like run Optimism nodes at scale. So I guess it depends on what level of production that you all want to do. But I dropped a second link there. We have a simple optimism node, which is actually from 𝗀𝗀. I have a PR in there that's waiting. It's going to get in there soon, and it'll support our latest network upgrades. But that's kind of nice because it comes in a nice Dockerized package. It gives you metrics and monitoring to see and see where the health of your node is at, and kind of being able to monitor the network. Those are those first two links there. The next one I have is we also have our own indexer, of course. So it's open source. It's on our mono repo. So if y'all are interested, you can check it out. And that last link is I've been putting together kind of a developers focus repository. And this is where anyone can ask questions. We have an open forum, and you ask questions there, and I do my best to run them down for you. But if y'all want to dig into anything specific, go ahead and drop it in the chat or let me know.
So you said we're going to have documentation for running the Optimism stack on bare metal, hey? That's brilliant news.
Yep. We had it. It needed some work. I showed it some love, but we have a recommended base configuration on there, and then I've also added a configuration page in the documentation, so you can add what you'd like. That repository that I linked from smart contracts 𝗀𝗀 is really nice as a reference as well if you want to enable metrics and things of that nature.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, well, I remember when we launched our MIPS program, we also wanted to include Optimism as one of the main chains to go live with. And I've been tasked on getting documentation out, running it on bare metal and Docker. And dude, like, it was a nightmare to get it up and running on bare metal. Mainly, I guess also because of the version mismatch or something. But it was so much easier on Docker than bare metal. That's for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did a little bit of usability testing for myself. It is a much smoother process right now. But we also have a feedback session on our section on our forum. So if you have any suggestions, we are always open to it. And we have a lovely new docs doctor who kind of manages that. So it's going to be more systemized. We're going to make sure everything's up to date. and you'll see different configuration releases with upgrades, so y'all know what to do when you're running your nodes.
That's awesome. You should also check the InfraDAO documentation that we wrote quite a while ago. It's going to be updated as we go, but it should be working. I'll probably let Vince talk about it more because he posted the link there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm seeing that there's some things in the chat that I need to catch up on.
Yeah, there's a question here from Derek. I'm not sure if you've mentioned it, but he says there were some issues with Bedrock doing MIPS, which was our a program for indexers to onboard onto the network. I'm not sure if you've responded to that question, but yeah, he's just, I guess, asking what's the latest on that, or are those issues fixed?
There wasn't necessarily a Bedrock issue during MIPS. It was because they were trying to release Bedrock, they kept delaying the release, so we also had to keep delaying our MIPS integration. So it ended up like not releasing for us at all, like not making it in time for us to test everything and make sure that everything is going smooth. I see Chris is asking when OP 𝗟𝗂𝗂. There is an OP 𝗟𝗂𝗂. It is fully working. It's not developed by the Ethereum guys. But I would love to have like official 𝗟𝗂𝗂 support though, or Ref. Like that would be fantastic. What do you think about that?
I mean, then you'll be happy to know that we have external contributors working on these alternate clients. We have, like you said, OP 𝗟𝗂𝗂 and OP Ref are available. They are not, I don't think they're quite at production level at the moment, but they're making it there. Just recently, OP Ref was merged into the Ref repository. So the Ref client can now run an OP stack or an OP node. I know that a couple.
Yeah.
Yep. We've got Andreas and 𝗨𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 on our team doing the most because after work they're going and contributing to that repository. So if you're interested, check it out. You can run it and give them some feedback. I'm always happy to relay it.
That's brilliant, dude. This is the best news ever, especially knowing how big those chains can get. Like looking at Polygon without 𝗟𝗂𝗂𝗂 is gonna be dead. Same with BSC basically. So yeah, you guys are in a so much better position now with early stage 𝗟𝗂𝗂𝗂 and Ref support. This is brilliant.
Oh, I totally agree. And I think that's why I was so, attracted to Optimism. I mean, I know that Bedrock took a little time to get up and running, but now I feel like we're positioned very nicely from like an architectural standpoint, where we can have these external contributors kind of build off of our implementation client and kind of expand the pool there.
I love seeing that you actually care about the people using your stack, right? Because you can say like BSC, we don't care, not even paying 𝗟𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 for support, and just move away. But you guys do the other way, like the other way around, so which is so nice to see. And we need more people in the ecosystem doing the same.
Thank you. That means a lot because I know that's the goal and the direction that we're heading. So, we're stoked about it and we're stoked to build along y'all. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the. Okay, I'm checking the chat. I swear. So we addressed the MIPS. I think that's because of a little Bedrock stall.
𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗧, I
InfraDAO
think
tested
it's
doc.
asked, like, OP mainnet support coming to the Graph protocol. Would be great to discuss running a node. I don't know if there's specifics to running a node that you're interested in, Chris. If you want to post that in the chat, or it's been already answered through the docs that 𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗧 shared. I see you typing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, hopefully our docs answered. If not, I will make sure that they do. Oh, most definitely. And I think we can grab those. I know the test and prod team is doing OP 𝗟𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂. Let me grab the links for you so you guys can take a look.
A question about the OP 𝗟𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 stack. How familiar are you with it?
I'm not extremely familiar with it. I know that the folks from Test and Prod are working closely with our client engineers, and we're helping each other implement things. What's kind of
Got
great
it.
too is that they've implemented something called span batches, which is coming soon or early next year to kind of when there's less activity on the L2, it reduces the fees a ton.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, well, my main question regarding OP Aragon is, I guess this is only for the post Bedrock update, right? Like all the post Bedrock data. So you still need to run an L2 geth for the pre Bedrock update, right?
That's true. That's true. For the historical executions, you need to run the legacy client, and then the post Bedrock nodes will just route those requests to L2geth.
All right, awesome. So I guess OP Aragon has something pre-implemented in it, so you can point it to the right, like historical data, right?
Yes, that's correct. And in our documentation, we have information on how to run L2geth in the data directory. It's basically just a static node. There's no updates because tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
used
think
to
even
I'm
know.
used to how Arbitrum works, so to me it's like not news at all. It's quite awesome and easy to understand.
Right on.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna test in prod.
Yeah, yeah. There's going to be plenty of testing in production, but we have our robust testing before that. Hopefully, with more eye, what's the saying? With enough eyes, all bugs are shallow. So hopefully, with more client contributors, we can catch all those things before they're an issue.
Yeah, test in prod is my middle name. Chris is mentioning that OP Aragon snapshots are also available. That's awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but that is really nice. That's actually something that I've been pushing forward to on our side. Starting in Q1, hopefully earlier, we're going to start putting up once a month full node snapshots for OP mainnet so people can get up and running quicker. I know that. And then we also have SnapSync in progress. So hopefully that will no longer be a need in the future. It actually works right now, but we need to make it feel like it works.
We've got a question from Vince in the chat. Just want to direct your attention there, 𝗨𝘀𝗲, if you can say it.
Is DTL still required for L2geth post Bedrock? I kind of built my docs on base with simple optimism and still existing, so figured it was. It is if you need that, the historical executions. If you're just running a full node, I don't think you need it.
Yeah, so as a rule of thumb, anytime we're talking about running a node, we're talking about archives. So yeah, we're gonna need everything, I guess.
That makes sense. We are at the indexer office hours. I forgot.
Yeah. So you're saying you guys are going to host snapshots for people to download and get up to Chainhead faster?
Yeah, that's right. In that developer forum that I showed earlier, there's a feedback section and there's only one post in there, and it is asking for snapshots. So if you signal your support there, our dev infrastructure team will see that and prioritize it. We're trying to tighten the feedback loop between our developers and the people who are using our software, so we can improve and iterate quickly.
Which link exactly?
Let me grab it for you.
Yeah, thank you. But man, like having your own snapshots available for people to download would solve so many problems and headaches.
Yeah, we
And
totally
months
agree.
of waiting at some point, yeah.
Exactly. So I just dropped the link there. So in the discussion section, there's a feedback subsection. You guys can go ahead and post in there and tell them
Oh
that
yeah,
you want
need
it.
more recent snapshots. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. I will. Thank you.
most definitely. And I'm posting updates there when I have them, so like the folks who are interested can get it. I have it in the thread. I have my fingers crossed that this will be a January thing, but I can't, promise other people's engineering work.
Sounds good.
And also to continue the shill on this forum, this is probably the best place for questions to get answered. When I can't answer them, I take my time in the internal office hours and reach out to the engineers and get them answered, and I relay them back as quickly as I can. I have a decent response time, so but you can always ping me again if y'all need some specific information.
All right, that's good to know.
And we're also scaling our team too, so hopefully we'll have more folks internally and externally. What's nice about Optimism and working with the governance is that we've spun up a community technical support, and a lot of those folks will hop in and help as well. Okay, I got another question here. When Optimism 𝗨𝗂𝗧𝗂? Optimism 𝗨𝗨𝗂𝗧𝗂 right now. We have it live. The information for the network is on our documentation that I shared. And we're really encouraging people to migrate over because 𝗨𝗨𝗂𝗧𝗂𝗧 is being decommissioned in January. Thank you, Maureen, for sharing that. And if there's any more specific questions, other things that are coming in the pipeline is we've got the Canyon upgrade. That hard fork is coming in January. This is bringing over the 𝗨𝗨𝗂 hard fork, Shanghai and 𝗨𝗨𝗂. So we'll have all of that on OP mainnet. No 𝗨𝗶_𝗨𝗂𝗧 yet. That's coming down the line. At the moment, we're just trying to be aligned with the focus on the Ethereum testnets right now. But I know that Proto is a big is running a lot of Hovsky testnet nodes, so I think he'll be a big part in bringing that over to 𝗨𝗨𝗪𝗏sky.
I have a super dumb question, but what's the difference between 𝗨𝗨sky and 𝗨𝗨𝗧?
It's not dumb because I don't know quite the answer. I think that 𝗨𝗨sky is a little bit more resource intensive at the moment. The way that I understand the Ethereum testnets is that it's there's continuously rolling them out. 𝗨𝗨𝗪𝗏 just came before 𝗨𝗨sky.
All right.
Maybe Matthew.
Also, I believe 𝗨𝗨sky was like more designed to support like Ethereum mainnet, mainly to test out validator infrastructure. So that's why we're focusing on OP 𝗨𝗨𝗪𝗏, which is
Okay.
which is essentially what all L2s are focusing their support on.
Thank you, Maureen. Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing that I remembered from chatting with Proto was that it was a little bit more resource intensive, and that makes sense why. Thank you.
Hey Vince, can you check really quick how big the whole setup, the archive nodes are for running Optimism? Because I know you synced them from scratch, and you have all the data. Because I'm curious.
Yeah, let me check 1 sec.
Vincent says, isn't there some sort of difference in availability of ETH for each? Like one is being held closer to developers' chests to stop the Goerli value problem happening again. I don't know, dude. I got like 500 ETH on 𝗨𝗨𝗪𝗏 just from being at DevConnect. So
I think you're right, Vincent. I think that the devs don't want that same thing to happen, so they're being a little bit more conservative about the testnet circulation and those economics, which are kind of above my head, but I think that's definitely a consideration.
There's a great question from Chris. How often does OP mainnet undergo hard forks? How much lead time is typically given to operators?
So our hard forks have to go through governance approval, and it lines up with the voting cycles. We do have, I don't know about the cadence at the moment, and that might change. We do have Canyon coming up next in January on mainnet, and then we have a Delta hard fork right after. So we're working on giving more lead time. It always lands on testnet first, and then I think it's a minimum of 2 weeks of testing before we put it up for governance and vote. But we're working on aligning both the technical development and governance so we can kind of continue to ship upgrades. This is actually something that I've been talking about with our docs person recently, was how can we make the releases and upgrades more obvious? At the moment, we have a release section on GitHub for the OP node and OP geth, and that has the release notes and the change log and the recommendations on what to run. So that's always the source of truth. But we also want to make it a little bit more user friendly. So I'm thinking of carving out a space on the documentation where we can kind of have a timeline of hard forks and upgrades and what you need to do to support them. There is a slight configuration update that you need to do for Canyon. It is adding one additional flag to the OP node and OP geth. But I know that the client pod team is working on making sure that the configurations don't need to be changed quite so much, and the upgrades will be smoother. Yep, and there's details in the chat from Marine. Thank you so much.
All right. Do we have more questions? I know there's a lot of indexers present here, but quite yeah, we're not getting that many questions from them. Are you guys ready for supporting optimism on the network? Because that's going to come really quick, faster than you'd think. Chris, has it gone to the council yet, or is still in progress?
Voting is in progress.
Okay, nice. Let's go. Oh, there's a thing from Derek. This isn't quite as indexer related, but I'd love to connect up on the technical support group you mentioned to see what type of subgraph development assistance we could potentially offer to the OP community. I guess you guys should chat after the call and see what can be done.
Yeah, most definitely. And also the forum that I posted is open for anyone to answer questions. So if, I could even carve out an indexer section. And if there's open questions there, maybe y'all can hop in and answer those questions. I'm iterating slowly, or I'm not slowly. I'm just making sure I'm being mindful of the sections right now, so it's not too verbose. But the forum is the closest place. We also have our Discord where there's a lot of dev chatter. But for like specific questions that kind of require deeper debugging, I like to direct to the forum, so we can. So like all the logs and debugging and conversation doesn't get lost in the noise on Discord.
Um, yeah, I also thought there would be a lot more questions, seeing as there was quite a bit of demand for people guys to come over today. But maybe what we could do is, you sent a few links over, Sorry Boy. Maybe you could go through some of those links, maybe talk through them in greater detail. Maybe that would spark more questions, and something for people to chew on to ask more questions.
Yeah, most definitely. The links that I shared were our new technical docs, specifically the node operator section, um, and a simple optimism node, which is a Dockerized container for running an optimism node, with metrics and like a Grafana dashboard enabled. And then I shared with my continuous shell of the developers discussion forum. But if there's not any oh yeah, I can do that. Let me close some links and I can share my screen.
Yeah, you should have permissions, but if you don't, then let me know and I can get that sorted for you.
Right
All
on.
right. Yes, we can see everything.
So this is, the preview of our new tech docs. As you can see, we have a whole section carved out here. Overview, basically just kind of the rundown of the architecture on what you would expect for our OP node. We have a configuration setting here, which we have all of the configs that you might need to set up. And then we have I added these as well. It's like a description of all of the configurations you can pass in through the command line, and kind of a description of them. So this is all of the OP node specific things, where our node is separated between the OP node and OP-Geth, kind of like an execution client and a consensus client. So this is all for the OP node. If you need any of the references for configurations on OP-Geth, we are very close fork of Geth. So there's very few differences between the two. So you can always reference the Geth data. Excuse me. Yeah, the Geth documentation. I'm just gonna keep running through it. If any questions pop up, let me know. This is probably where we're going to be putting our
I'll let you know
snapshots.
if there's anything in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. We have our data directories that are kind of dated from the Bedrock launch, so we're working on getting those snapshots up for y'all. JSON RPC API documentation, how to interact with your node and what they do, with kind of some both curl commands and cast commands, and sample output. We have node monitoring, so if you want to set up metrics on your own node and run it, you can do this. This is a high-level overview. And if you want more details, I would use this smart contracts simple optimism node as a reference, and that'll really help. And this is something I'd also like to build out more is node troubleshooting. We have some, common warning logs or errors that you might see in running. I really want to build this section out more. So if y'all have any feedback, let me know, and I can add descriptions and the meanings of certain logs. So yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. You're probably the only one I've seen doing this. Holy shit, this is so useful.
Yeah, so I want to make it more visible, and I really want to build it out because this is not all of the cases; it's just some of them. But as new things come in, feel free to open an issue or just in the forum, let me know. But yeah, this is the new documentation. I can walk through that hotkey. I can walk through. Are y'all able to see this new tab? Let me switch back. Yeah, cool. This needs a PR coming in to support Canyon, but it is a very nice reference if you want to run a Docker version. Okay, just wanted to state that indexers with our archive data workloads have a strong preference for Aragon due to the huge difference in state size. Would appreciate anything you can do to prioritize support for Aragon and Reth and VME so expensive. Okay, yeah, no, that's a good call out, definitely. And what's nice about chatting with me, I can always relay these questions and directly feed this feedback into our client engineers. So you can think of me as a human router for questions, or an interface as well. I do know about Firehose, but only on a high level. I haven't ran it myself. Yeah, most definitely. I want to support the ecosystem as best as I can. As my bandwidth shrinks with the more questions, we're looking to scale up, and so our community can help itself.
And maybe Chris, just we've been in discussion with the friends at Edge and Node and Streaming Fast about Firehose and substreams. So I believe actually Streaming Fast should be enabling substream, sorry, this week or next. Or yeah. And I was reading in the Discord, I think there's a lot of interest from your community, or like from developer community in general, to get base support as well. So hopefully I can see with those teams to get that as well. And hopefully any additional OP stack chains part of the super chain.
Yes, thank you, Maureen. Thank you for supporting the superchain. What's nice is that it should be reasonably easy to add, with the same, everyone running the same stack. So hopefully those will follow shortly after.
We always love a good alpha leak. There's a couple people typing in the chat, so we'll let folks ask their questions. Seems like there's a question here from Vincent.
So this looks like a Firehose specific question. So we can just pipe our archive nodes instead of downloading the blockchain again.
Yeah, I think that's how it's working. So Vince posted that the whole setup for running an archive node with the Geth counterparts is 6.5-ish terabytes in size, which is oof. Give me that Aragon support now.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel the pain. I opted to not run an archive node on my own bare metal hardware at home for that reason.
Yeah, but with Aragon, things change quite drastically. I actually wonder what's the size of a full archive node with Aragon.
I'm honestly not sure. I'm sure it's significantly smaller, but I don't know at this current state.
Oh wow, it says I'm not sure when the data is posted at, but it says Optimism mainnet compressed 115 gigabytes, uncompressed 380 gigs, but not sure what's the date of the snapshot. Yeah, it doesn't say when the snapshot was taken, but still.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine that. Yeah, I don't know when it was taken either. I actually didn't even know that they were posting snapshots. So I need to look into that myself.
Yeah, if you can ask them to write down when when those snapshots were taken, that would be so much better. Because at least it gives you a comparison, like if it was like 2 months ago, you'd know that it's still around that size. But if it was like a year ago, then definitely not.
Sweet. Thank you, Marina. It looks like she's reaching out to them now, and hopefully we'll
Awesome.
get that updated soon.
Thank you so much.
So it seems like the questions are slowing down or stopped. But if y'all have any lingering questions or any questions after, drop them in that developer forum, and I'll make sure that they get answered for y'all. So this won't be our only connection here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're coming into our final 10 minutes, so I just want to do a final call for questions. This is not a fantastic opportunity if you are curious about optimism, to talk to these amazing folks. As Soy Boy said, this won't be the last interaction, so rest assured you can ask questions later. But it is a great opportunity to have questions answered real time. So, final 10 minutes. If anyone has any further questions, please do fire away. You have questions or silence, you decide, lol. It seems like Matt has questions, but they're not OP related. And same for Derek. Matt, do you want to post your questions while we have a look at the comment that Derek made? So this one isn't optimistic, but worth bringing up, which we had learned. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, that's let's start off with you, Matthew. Then, do you want to either unmute your mic or finish typing the question, and then we can get to that. And then if other OP related questions come up, we can always circle back. And then same for you, Derek, as well.
I had 2 questions. One, basically, I think Derek and I are thinking the same thing here. There's a lot of new chains on the network, but there's no communication. Like, things just pop up. What's the plan? What's happening? Why is there no announcements? It's not clear.
The subgraphs that have been published are basically tests from the upgrade indexer. Since the chains that those subgraphs are indexing are not supported by the graph contracts, they will be denied rewards. So any signal is wasted, any indexing rewards are gone from those specific subgraphs. But yes, I agree. The lack of communication pisses me off as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it's easy. Sorry. It should have been easy to say, "Hey, we're going to start enabling new chains for the upgrade indexer. By the way, we're going to test some subgraphs. Please don't index them." Doesn't seem too complicated to send out that kind of message.
Yeah, +1 to that.
That is a good point. I will forward that over to Pedro, as he seems to be the right person to be able to communicate that. But I just want to add an additional piece of information. Of course, saying that we shouldn't index that is important, but I want IOH to be an important interface for new chains that we're going to be indexing. A good example with OP and the lovely people who have graced us with their presence and answered our questions. So obviously it won't be the case for every single chain that we index in the future, because some teams are just harder to reach than others. But I want to have this section in IOH called Chain Watch, which is all about highlighting those specific chains and having the teams show up. Actually, I can see Pedro is here. I just noticed. So do you want to comment on Pedro if you're in the room with us, in terms of communications around not indexing new subgraphs?
Hi. Yeah, I just joined like 2 minutes, but I checked in the chat. I guess you're talking about the recently published subgraphs on not fully supported chains, right? And the question is whether you guys should be indexing those. So I'm not 100% sure that was EdgeNode, to be honest, because anyone can publish subgraphs to the network. By default, there's no indexing rewards on those. So that's my answer. I'm not even 100% sure that was EdgeNode. Maybe if it was, yes, I agree, we should have said something that we're testing things out, but we do have this warning on the UI on the Explorer that says no indexing rewards will be enabled for unsupported chains or chains that rely on unsupported features such as these data source, these not supported data sources. But I'll take it back to the team. We'll see.
Derek mentions that a lot of them are coming from Messari.
Yeah, see, maybe some people are testing out. I mean, anyone can do it, so I guess just maybe has some different, I don't know, maybe allocation rules not for those. But yeah, we'll clarify. I mean, if it's Messari, I'll ping them. I'll reach out. I'll let you folks know what's happening. I'll try to get some clarity.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pedro. It was a great coincidence that you were here because I was going to follow up with you on Slack. So yeah, thanks for answering and providing clarity and taking it on as a task to find out more information. Hopefully this is useful for you, Matthew, and the rest of the indexers. Okay, final. One topic that might be.
Oh, as long as you're getting paid, why not? Derek, in response to your our indexers are interested in running in testnet infra. I mean, you have to pay Infura to query to send transactions on Goerli after some point, right? If you use their URLs, and it's the same with the graph. If you want to run subgraphs, you have to pay for them.
I think it's
There's
only fair.
Yeah,
like,
for
these
sure.
are businesses at the end of the day. Yeah, makes sense.
But also, like free queries offered by EdgeNode's gateways basically will solve half of the problem at least. So you only have to curate your subgraphs for now, which is also going away. It's not free for them. It's like a number of free queries, which would be enough to develop things on testnets, right? You don't need 10,000 people like supporting your queries. Yeah, as Matthew says, we have RPCs running for testnet, so no problem indexing testnet subgraphs. It's just normal payment model should apply for sure. That's the idea. Because in the end, you're dealing with data. Everything takes space. Everything takes computation. Yeah, don't forget to get your POAPs and go through the 5-minute quiz that is required in order to get them, and you're gonna hate your life, and then you're gonna throw your phone down the toilet.
Yes, I have done that several times. I've thrown my phone thinking, it's 5 minutes. It literally takes 5 minutes. You only made 3 mistakes today. That's impressive, Derek.
I made 5 mistakes from from the first bubble, my dude. That's how much I can concentrate right now. 0.
It's like I get it, like you don't want people spamming or whatever. But 5 minutes to like do this mind quiz or math game, it's much. It's a bit too much,
Dude, the first time I did this I was high AF. And it took me the whole 5 minutes. I had 10 seconds left.
That's so funny. I could just imagine that right now. That's hilarious. Oh man, well
Okay,
enjoy the quiz, guys.
looks like Pedro said he just pinged Messari and he's going to keep us posted. But yeah, keep in mind that anyone can publish subgraphs. That's true. Also worth noting that the subgraph availability oracle had a 2-hour hiccup today, where he took a small vacation and didn't deny the subgraphs right away after they got signaled. And also, by the way, it only denies subgraphs that have enough signal after a threshold to be denied. So yeah, and also Pedro mentions there's a plan to decentralize the SAO and the work. That's awesome. That's good to know. That's a new one for me.
There you go. Some more alpha. Alpha
Yeah.
Something cool.
The leaks.
The leaks. I love it. Yes. A massive thank you to the Optimism team for joining us today. Yeah, this is amazing. This is hopefully the first of many future dialogues going forward, because we love optimism and we want to support optimism. Yeah, thank you so much for posting the links, answering our questions. There seems to be a question here from Derek, so let me just quickly address that before we wrap.
Can we confirm that signal on unsupported networks don't count in the calculation? Yes, it does count. So if you signal 20,000 million GRTs, then you're going to take the rewards out for everyone. That's a bit unfortunate, but this is how it works. Yeah, you're right. On the SAO denied subgraphs, they just accumulate but cannot be claimed. That's entirely correct. That's how it works. We probably gonna need a fix for this. I'm not sure if there's any smart contract big brains around here, but yeah.
Pablo's a smart contract whiz, but I don't think he's with us today.
Yeah. I can probably raise that concern, or I don't know, Derek, feel free to post in the forum. Like, this is going to be a pretty like big change to the protocol, I guess.
Indeed. Alrighty, so we're at the top of the hour, so I'll take this opportunity to say thank you to the Optimism team again, and the rest of you for showing up today. This has been a lot of fun, and as Marine said, she's going to circle back on any unanswered questions. I'll monitor the chat here in case that's the case, and then I'll also try and forward anything over to her. And yeah, thank you all for attending today's edition of Index Office Hours. Breaking news has been delivered. And yeah, we look forward to having you again same time next week for more exciting information and content. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Hey guys, what's going on?